Just to introduce myself very briefly, for those of you that don't know me, I know some of you do. My name's Sarah Lefebvre. I'm the editor of Ludagogy magazine, and it's Ludagogy magazine which is organising these sessions. The idea is to have a couple of play sessions, at least a couple of play sessions every month, which will then be shared on Ludagogy. Basically, the idea behind it is that I feel as sort of serious games designers, games-based learning professionals and so on, we don't get enough play in our life. So I'm making a concerted effort to make sure that we do by at least hosting a couple of sessions each month. My background's in games-based learning for a very long time, longer than I care to remember. And now I've bitten the bullet and gone, because Ludagogy takes up so much of my time, that's really basically what I do now, is I edit Ludagogy. It's just about to undergo a bit of a transformation. In fact, within the next couple of hours, it should be up on its new hosting platform, I hope, if that all goes smoothly. It'll probably break everything and I'll have to start all over again, but we'll see how that goes. So hopefully it should be faster, more responsive, and I'll be able to host more exciting events like this and more exciting content on there. Now it's on a bit more of a professional platform. So Corrado, who is come here to show off his Agile game this evening. I've known Corrado for, well, since I started Ludagogy really, so a couple of years now. He is a senior Agile coach at Lloyds Bank, and he's been involved in some of the largest enterprise transformations at international level and in different industries during recent years. Corrado is a well-known member of the Agile community in London. He's a speaker on Agile topics and the convener for the Lean Agile Delivery and Coaching Network and Digital Transformation in London meetup groups, which between them have around 4,000 members. He's also a founder of SAM, which is the Scrum Agile Milano Network meetup group, directly supported by the Agile Alliance and the Scrum Alliance. Corrado strongly believes in experiential learning, and he is a creator, facilitator and player of Agile serious games, one of which you will be playing this evening, the Agile Mindset. Corrado, is there anything you'd like to add?
Nothing actually. So your presentation is pretty complete.
In which case I shall hand over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce this game. That is the last one that I am designing. And thank you all of you that joined this session, just to play the game and try to, let me say, immerse for a while in the atmosphere of the Agile serious games. I am, as Sarah said, I am a player of games normally, and I think that given my experience, helping people to make a change in their mindset is really hard when you are doing with the traditional learning, let me say, tools such as training, books, or what else. So I started exploring the scenario of the serious game a few years ago, and I am one of the ambassadors of Play 14 here in London. Play 14 is a community of game designer and player really focused on serious games, not only in Agile world, but any serious game. And while entering in this community, I was in touch with many developers, and so they actually teach me how to create games, and so I start working on creating my own games. I have, let me say, 12 years of experience in the Agile world. I started as a developer, then as a Scrum Master, and now I'm working as Agile coach. So I think that I saw a lot of different situations, and I deal this situation with a lot of different people, a lot of different mindsets. So given this experience, I think that we can create games in a very completely a new way that the actual serious games are available in the market, in the Agile space. And this is the mantra of the Agile Game Factory. That is, let me say, the brand that I use to for my games. Actually, it's me, okay, but anyway. Agile Game Factory mission is to create serious games with the standard board games mechanics. So the experience of playing the game is really, really close to a true board game or a true card games that we are seeing today. But this experience is happening in a context that is the context of the Agile teams that want to improve their way of working, that want to understand how they can do better developers, they can provide better features to our customers, to the customer, and be, let me say, what we call a high responsive team, okay? So I created these games to make this scenario available for the players and make them test a different mindset to face this kind of situation. So today we are talking about agile mindset. I don't know if you have a rough idea what agile mindset is, but actually the agile mindset is, how can I say, the sacred graal of agile. I mean that if you talk with coaches, everyone will talk, okay, but we are not working on tools, we are not working on practices, but we are working on a different level, okay? So they start introducing these concepts that you can see here in these slides. So there are principles, okay? There are values, and everything is connected to this idea of mindset. Okay. And then when you start talking about mindset, you move a little bit into the definition of what is a growth mindset. We are closer to psychological aspect more than to IT aspect that normally Agile is located. Okay. And also we need to explain what is the difference of following a practice instead of facing a situation with the right approach. Okay, so we know we have doing agile, we have being agile, we have think agile, and what else. So all of these concepts, if you Google about agile, you will see everything about that. And as I mentioned, there are some components from the psychological level. And for example, in the community of coaches, Dan Pink, that created this trilogy of concepts like autonomy, master, and purpose, is really, really strong. And you see that if you want to motivate people, you need to use these leverages to make people be more engaged in the work. And also you have to create a situation of better collaboration, create what we use the word synergy. Okay, so again, everything is clear, but okay, but all of this stuff, how can make this happening in our team? So this is the origin of this game. Okay, so I start thinking on how we can put all of these concepts that are really, as I say, strong in the community into one single game. And the first step that I did is to ask people, what is the agile mindset for you? And you can see here that there are a lot of different responses. I made this during the meetup, during 6 months of meetup. And you see, I collected a few tens of responses, you can see. And the agile mindset is something that is not really clear. I mean, it can be everything or nothing if you look at this list. But there are some trends. For example, you see that respect is part of the agile mindset, but also adaptability, flexibility. Okay, in this star cloud, you can see the bigger are the concepts and the more voted are. Okay, so this was the starting point. And so following this approach, I was able to identify the set of values that are the main characteristic of the agile mindset. Okay, and so this was the first, let me say, step in this journey. And then I start thinking, okay, but if these are the values, what are the leverages that we can use with people and teams to make this value living in their work, in their activity? And again, following different forms, survey and what else, I was able to identify 6 different influencers. This is the name that I thought for this. The first 3 are autonomy, master, and purpose that I mentioned before. They are defined by Dan Pink, and they are really focused on people motivation, okay? But when you are working in a team, actually, people motivation is not enough. There are another set of influencers that I consider external influencers that are related to the dynamic of the people with other people in the teams. And so in the bottom, you can see 3 external influencers, so another group of influencers that are collaboration, environment, and leadership. So these 6 items, these 6 leverages are the, let me say, the fuel that you can use to make people changing in some way. And using these 6 influencers, I start working on creating the pattern that, given a value, can create a situation where this value is really living in the team, and also what kind of influence this value can put in the dynamic of the team. Okay, so I created this during the development of the game, just to understand what are the influencers that I can put as an input of a value, and given that output, what is the output, so the outcome actually that the value can bring in the team dynamics and in the team way of working, okay? And so working in this direction, I was able to identify, this is just for example, I was able to identify some patterns, okay? And I was able also to identify the other levels of the game other than the values. So we have a level of values that you can see in the exact logic that I have defined before. So we have an input, and then we have a result, an output. Then there is a second level that is what I call principle and frameworks that actually have its own set of input and output. And these principles are strongly connected with again, patterns, let me call, because they are very generic. We have frameworks, but we have also the 12 principles of the Agile Manifesto. We have the principle of Agile marketing, for example, and what else. So I collected this principle from the existing literature. And then we have the set of practices and tools that actually is the lower level because it's the easier one. Okay, so we have 54 different practices and tools, for example. But again, the schema is exactly the same. And you have an input and then you have an output. What you can see here in yellow is the points, okay, that actually are victory points. That is how many points of, how many levels of the Agile mindset in general you can achieve with this card. So for example, you can see that using a cumulative flow diagram cannot give you really any point in the Agile mindset, but instead using transparency as a value in your conversation, in your dynamic, can give you 5 points, for example, in this case, okay? And this is actually the game, the material of the game, except the calendar event that we will see later during the game. The calendar event is there to reproduce the dynamic of a real team that actually every sprint has to face different situations. And every sprint, actually, we have a different rule of the games that actually happen during playing the game. And each change in the normal rule is related to specific event that we will be able to see during the session. Then we will move. Okay, if we have some question at this moment, please ask if everything, I know that I didn't actually present the game, but if you have some question on this foundation, on this, how can I say, layer over which is built the game, please ask. Okay.
I was curious about, just because I think you summarized, is it in the previous slide? You were just listing the assets. Yeah. So is this the total? There's something, weirdly, there's a box over the top of something there. I can't see. I don't know why. So there's 18 mindset and so
yeah,
there's
18 values,
36 principles and frameworks, and then 54 practices and tools.
Yep.
And that's the full stack of cards. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
And then we have also a set of tokens that actually you use during the game to build the card, so to give to the input of the card, so you can develop, for example, transparency. Okay, so to have transparency, you have to invest, let me say, 2 points of environment, 3 points of autonomy, 3 points of leadership, and 5 points of collaboration. Okay, we will see later, I mean, in the simulation in the game, sorry, not in the simulation. Okay, before moving to the game, let me share for 1 second let me say the marketing stuff, I would say. Okay, so about Gel Factory, this is just the last game that I have developed. There are other games that are available in our catalog. And I already presented this game, few of these games in conferences. For example, the Death Start game that actually is called DS Builders. That is a game about collaboration across teams. So when you are scaling, has been presented this last year at XP 2021. That is the Agile Alliance conference on extreme programming. I had a few sessions during Agile Tour and Agile Next of these games. So I presented this in conferences, and later I will share some links so you can visit the web and check the games. Okay. So good for that. Okay, let me.
Did you see Terry's message, Corrado, about how to get rid of the grey box?
Just when you're resharing, you make sure that the box for optimize for video is not checked. Because usually when that's checked, that's what causes the grey.
Unless you're sharing video, of course.
Yeah, unless of course you're sharing video.
Okay, let me share again the other screen so maybe we can do better.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Terry. And welcome, by the way. Nice to see you. I think that now you can see the screen. Can you confirm you can see the screen?
Yeah, can see that.
Okay, so how the game is working, we have the card set here. Okay, we have the set of cards. We have the tokens. Okay, so these are the different tokens. And actually the game is working when you have a portfolio of different cards at different levels. Okay. And during each of the turn, any player can take or the tokens or develop the card. So you have to take a decision if you want to invest your time, for example, in collaboration, and so you want a token of collaboration, or if you want to buy or develop a card using the token that you have collected in the previous round. Okay, so this is essentially the dynamic of the game. The game can be played by 6 persons or 6 teams. It's the same. I played these games in both situations. Normally, when we have a lot of people, we use the breakout rooms. I think that for today we can try to play one by one, let me say one player by player, using the same session, okay? And when you develop a card, okay, you can take the card, for example, this one, and you can put in this area, that is the area of your cards, okay? And okay. And that's all, actually. We will have a set of calendar events that we will define in advance, and you can connect, and that's all. I can share the link to enter in the session. 1 second. I'm putting this chat.
So I think what we'll do is we'll all get into that session, and then we'll decide who's going to play in each space.
Yeah, we can play, for example, with 6 players, and the other can observe with the screen sharing, or maybe well, this is the only situation, actually, because there are 6 players that you can have, not more. And normally when I play with teams, just to describe the situation, we have different breakout rooms, and we have one of the player in each breakout rooms that enter in the platform to deal with the stuff for the whole team that is connected in that breakout room.
But I guess what we can do is we can play in small teams, can't we? Small teams of 2, I guess, where one person is doing the driving, but is discussing with the other person. Okay. Right. So I think Corrado shared the link in the chat, so we can all go and join in there.
Okay, what I'm going to do now, just to describe, is that I'm preparing this. Okay, let me introduce. These are the cards for the calendar event. Okay, so here I'm collecting, I'm shuffling the card in this way, as you can see, and I can take, just to make our test, 12 cards, because 12 cards is the number of cards, is the number of sprints normally happening in 6 months. So what we are going to simulate here is the life of a team for the next 6 months. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is that I selected randomly 12 cards that I move to the level. So we have the calendar event ready. So the first round will be in a normal work. Okay, so here you can see all the activities that you can do, actually. So in a normal turn, you can take the influencers, that are the tokens, and you can take or 2 tokens of the same type, or 3 tokens of 3 different types. Okay, the tokens are these 6 here. Okay, or if you have the resources, the tokens enough for 1 card, you can develop 1 card in any level. Okay, so this is the dynamic of the game. Everything here is influenced by the cards that we are picking for the next round. Okay, please ask a question if this is not clear. The rule book is still in progress. Okay, in this area here, you can find a draft version of the rule book with all the information on how to set up the game that we already did, how the game plays, the limit of the tokens, and what else. Everything is here. Okay. Okay, I see 2 players already in the platform, Sergey and Laxman. We can have 4 more because I'm in the platform as an observer. Okay, so you can enter as a player.
I will hold off from doing that. Let somebody else do that.
Okay, Enrico, enter.
So we need 2 more.
Yeah, actually, you can play the game not necessarily with 6 players, but the game is working perfectly fine with 2 to 6 players. Okay, so. Okay, Terry. Okay, when you enter in the game, identify what is your area. So if you are the roller coasters, the wheel, the train, the castle, the gate, or the wheel here, the kick wheel or the panoramic wheel, like in Wonderful, Winter Wonderful. And so you know where you can collect the cards that you have developed in your area, okay?
Terry, you're being very indecisive.
How do you identify one as your area?
You can pick one.
Yeah,
just go and stand by it, I think.
Stand how? I don't.
Oh,
sorry,
right. You can't see yourself then.
No.
Ah, right. I can see everybody's little pointers moving around, but you can't see that, no?
No, I mean, I've got my mouse on the screen, but
okay, what you can do just to check, you can pick one of the token and move close to your area, for example. So we know that the area is already, let me say, reserved.
Do I need to enter into another room? Because I'm not seeing this setup here of the 12 things. I'm seeing like a kind of one with 4 cards on it, and it's got the icons on, but it's only got 4 cards and it hasn't got all the tokens.
Yeah, same with me. I'm exactly seeing.
Yes, I can see 4 cards in the middle, and then.
Ah, yeah. Yes, I got it. So you are in this.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my fault. This is the initial part, the preparation that I already did it. You simply select the layers here on the bottom left and select the play area.
Ah, got you. Okay.
Sorry, my fault. I have to take note of this. So this is the first real demo with other designer, okay? Because normally I play this game in person, okay? Because I print the cards and I have the printed version of the cards. So thank you. I'm collecting.
Right, can everybody see their own little pointer now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see Enrico, Laxman, Sergey.
Okay, I'm going to join because it doesn't look like anybody else.
Okay.
To join.
In the meantime, could you repeat, please, the scenario, because I'm trying to join and lost something. Sorry.
Okay, 1 second. I take a note.
Who is that talking?
Please, can you identify yourself that you made a question, please?
Yes, I am Enrico.
Oh, right.
Okay, good. So here, this card here, by the way, okay, before answering, if you want to interact with the platform, you click on the help button, okay? And here there are controls and shortcuts that shows you all the features of the platform, okay? So normally the normal game is given like by this set of rules. So in one turn, every turn, you can decide or to pick a new influencer or to develop a new card, okay? If you decide to pick the influencer, so option 1, actually you can decide to pick 3 different influencers or 2 influencers of the same type. So for example, you can decide to take 1 token of collaboration, 1 token of leadership, and 1 token of environment. Or maybe, because this is your game, you can pick 2 tokens of environment. Make sense?
Okay.
And then you collect your tokens. And when you have let me say, enough tokens, you can buy a card, you can develop a card that actually means that you need to have the set of tokens on the left side of the card, that is the input. And when you have a card, you will have forever the token on the right side of the card, that is the output. So for example, if you invest 1 token of mastery, 1 token of autonomy, and 1 token of collaboration here on this card, on the link coffee, okay, you will have forever a discount token in the autonomy. Okay, because it means that that practice has been, let me say, understood and well understood by your team. So the advantage in the rest of the game is that you have a level of autonomy given by that practice. Okay, and so for the rest. Clearly, level 1, level 2, level 3 can give you as an output, you see, for example, the top right card here, the experiment, can give you 3 levels of leadership token, but you have to invest 8 tokens of 2 types. And this card can give you also 3 levels of mindset in the final point, because at the end of the sprint, the 12 sprint that we have filtered, actually the winner is the player that has the higher level of mindset given by these yellow stars here.
Okay.
Just before we start, can I check that everybody is now happy with the sort of the interface? So is everybody in the play screen? You can all see the 3 rows of cards. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And has everybody claimed an area?
I think yes.
Yeah, because I think what happens when you claim an area is it gets a little outline around the outside of it. Is that right?
Okay, this
Corrado?
is just for the first round, because actually in the first round I think that you're starting taking some tokens.
Yeah.
And then you can move your tokens. You can pick your tokens with click and drag the tokens in your area, just to show you that you have selected this. Okay, so this is a turn-based game. So I will start, for example, with the kick wheel on the top. Who is the player that is on the kick wheel on the top left?
Who is that?
Okay. If someone...
why don't we work out, because we've got everybody's names down the left hand side. Maybe it's easier just to work down that list of names, because it's not altogether clear who's claimed which space, if you see what I mean. So if we start with Sergey and then Enrico and then Lakshman and then Terry, then Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Terry, I see that you already took your tokens. So let's assume that you are the first player. Okay. So we can use this as a starting point. So
Sorry,
Terry,
I thought you were telling us to all go at the same time. My apologies.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah,
but that's fine. That's fine. So Terry is the player number 1. So he picked 3 different tokens. Okay, so that's fine. So the next player is, for example, the player that is in the gate area, that I would say Sarah. So it's your turn to pick the tokens. What is your decision?
Right. Yeah. So I need to see what I'm collecting, don't I? So I'm probably. So I can go for 2 of one kind or
3 of 3 different kinds.
3 of 3 different kinds. Okay.
Clearly, your decision is based on the card that you want to develop. And this is exactly how the coach is thinking. Okay. So I want to improve, for example, the planning poker as a practice. Okay. So I have to invest in autonomy, mastery, and collaboration. Okay. So the first action that as a coach I want to do with that team is to invest in autonomy, mastery, and collaboration. And when I've done, I think that the planning poker will be played properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I've taken some tokens.
Okay, now who is the player in the panoramic wheel? Laxman, are you okay to be there?
Yes. Yeah, I can. I'm
Okay,
okay
so
to
if you can pick your tokens.
Sure. So I can have 3 of one kind, right?
2 of one kind or 3 of different kinds.
Okay. Oh, I need to drag and drop, right?
Yes, click to select and drag it.
Okay. Is this Enrico here?
Yeah, this is 1 token.
Okay.
You can take other 2 or 1 if you want to take of the same type.
Okay. I'll maybe go with autonomy, collaboration, and purpose.
So I'm guessing if you were facilitating this for a lengthy session, Corrado, you would then talk about those different enablers and what they actually mean to the people who are taking them. Although we probably won't go into that much detail in this session because it's quite short. Is that right?
Yes, actually, the game, and we are focusing in playing the game, but actually the goal of the game is to discuss on the cards. Okay. So, for example, do you like the definition of leadership? Is leadership about creating the right context for self-organization and supporting success? Our leaders are behaving like this if we agreed in this definition. If this definition is not working, what is our definition of leadership? So actually, in every card, there is a conversation. And the goal of the game, the real goal of the game, is to enable the conversation around this stuff. And the interesting point is that actually the conversation is happening at all three levels. So we are not just talking about what planning poker is, but actually we're talking about what courage means for us. Okay, so we have a definition. Do we agree with that on that?
I have a practical question. Is it okay with my microphone now?
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
Did you play? I assume that you are played already this game in the reality. How long it takes? Average.
Okay, if you are playing the game without discussing the cards, the games actually last 45 minutes, 1 hour.
But without discussion, it's what is zero value.
The game lasts a lot of more. I mean, I made session of 2.5 hours because you can imagine how can be deep the conversation about concepts like transparency, like experimental perspective and what else. So this is really, really deep learning.
So but maybe a big workshop, kind of half day in practice, because we have a lot of topics about key point mastery, purpose, leadership, and then we can discuss a lot about what is Gembavok, what is Lean Coffee, etc. I can imagine a lot of discussions only about the cards.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Clearly, there are some topics that are more relevant than others. Okay, so for example, planning poker, normally conversation lasts 1 minute, okay, because we agree on what planning poker is. But for sure, when we are talking about courage, the conversation is at a different level.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, who is the player that still have to play in the kicking wheel?
There are only 5 players.
None is none. So Sergey, it's your turn. It's your turn. You can decide to take which token, because at the moment, you know, you can buy any
For
card.
example, if I'd like to take a Gembavok, in this case, I'm taking for purpose, 1 purpose, and twice leadership. Oops.
No, you can, but no, you cannot take 2 leadership.
Okay, only once I can. Okay, I take 1 leadership for the, and something else for the next time. Collaboration.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the first round that is done. So now what is going to happen is that we have to pick a new calendar. So what is the event happening now? Okay, we have a bug in production. So our team, after 1 sprint, actually is facing a problem. Okay, this problem, okay, this is an old version of the card. However, this problem has an effect that you cannot take a new card. Okay, so this means that in this turn, no player can develop one of these cards. So for example, just to be very practical, I see that Terry has the token to develop a planning poker. But actually, because of the bug in production that happened, as a coach, you cannot introduce a new tool or a new principle in a situation where everyone in the team is focused to solve the bug in production. What you can do here in this situation is that you can invest tokens in that situation for the future. Okay, so you can invest your time acquiring other influencers that maybe you can use in another round. Okay, makes sense, Terry? So it's your turn, Terry. Okay, he's taking 2 leaderships. Perfect. So 2 of the same kind, it's okay. So the next player is, I think, Enrico, if I correctly remember. Or Laxman,
Okay.
I don't remember.
No, Laxman maybe.
Okay, sorry.
Is it not Sarah? Because I went after Sarah.
It's the gate player.
Yeah, that's Sarah.
Ah, Sarah, you are
Sarah,
the player.
yes.
Lovely.
All
Next.
done.
Okay. Next, I guess it should be me.
I guess to save time, we could probably. Oh, Mo, we're going to be doing more exciting things, aren't we? Like taking cards soon, aren't we?
Now, it's
Probably
important.
can't go at once. Yeah.
With tokens, okay, but at a certain moment, the tokens will be, let me say, all consumed.
Yeah.
So the turn is important.
Yeah.
The round. Perfect.
Now
It's my
it's
turn.
Sergey?
for me, so I take 1 leadership, 1 autonomy, and what else? Collaborate in 1 1 environment. Yes.
So I guess the idea that the tokens are consumed, I was just thinking about that and thinking initially it was a bit strange that, you know, if you had this characteristic that it would be used up, but I suppose you're moving up the levels, aren't you, within the game? So you're trading in a kind of lesser kind of skill in that thing for a better skill.
Okay. Yeah. Let me say this, Sarah. Your point is correct. With 5 players, normally the number of tokens available, the storage, is 2 by the number of players.
Yeah.
So in a situation with 5 players, the actual number of tokens, starting tokens, should be 10 for each type. Okay. So if you look at this number and you think that these tokens are organized in 5 players, actually you will see that the token will go, let me say, will finish in a couple of turns.
Yeah.
3 turns, 4 turns. This is absolutely critical when you are playing with 2 players. That you have just 4 tokens of each of type. Now, the point is that this increased the, how can I say, the playability of the game, because it's becoming more strategic. And instead, if you have more tokens, you are more focused on the content of the game. So normally, it's a good facilitator will balance. If you have, let me say, a very mature teams that actually have very clear this concept, you can reduce the number of tokens. And so the game will be more engaging and more interesting. Okay.
Also, as part of these rounds, are we not allowed to discuss internally and plan and take it up, or is something not a game mechanic?
Sorry, Laxman, I'm not getting. Your voice is very, very low.
No, right now we are just taking independent decisions in each round. Now, as players, do we play cooperatively, discussing with each other and plan and accordingly work it out, or that's not a game mechanic right now?
Actually, this is like a competitive game. So each of the players should achieve the best result as possible. Actually, I have to think that this is not the first time that I received these questions, because it could be very interesting to think about the collaborative way. So this means how can I maximize the total amount of the agile levels across the players? So this is something that I still have to explore. So it's a good point, actually. It's a good point. Okay, so Terry, it's your turn. But before that, we have to check the new calendar event. Okay, the new calendar event is a normal turn. So you can do everything that you want. You can pick new tokens or you can pick a new card. Perfect. You decide to take a card. Great. So now that we have used one card, we have a new opportunity that is dot voting. That is another practice very well known. So Terry consumed tokens for buying a card. Perfect. Thank you, Terry. And I think, Sarah, it's your turn.
I think I can take design sprint.
Okay, you have to pay this with your tokens. So please show the tokens.
Can I take, yes. Oh, have I not got two of the red? No, I can't take that.
Okay.
I took the wrong thing last time.
Can you
It's
develop
that one.
something else?
Sorry, it's that one I can take.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
So I put these back. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Laxman, if you want, in the meantime, let me show the card.
Should I wait for you or should I go ahead and pay for?
No, I already did it. Laxman,
Okay,
you have to decide or if you want to develop a card or if you want to take more tokens.
I think I'll take
Perfect.
more tokens.
Yeah. Perfect. Great. Next, Sergey.
So it looks like you're
Yes.
majoring in leadership here, Lakshman.
I'm sorry?
You're majoring in leadership here, I guess.
Yeah.
I planned to take Gamba Vogue, but currently I can take nothing with my current. No, I can take dot voting, for example. Or no, I prefer to take
it's up to you.
Okay,
yeah,
so
this is exactly, let me say, the decision that tokens are facing on a daily basis. Do we want to invest more time in increasing, for example, collaboration, or maybe we want to make a workshop to explain how dot voting is working? Okay. This is exactly a coaching point. Okay, next.
And one additional, sorry, almost done. Yes.
Okay. New round, new card. Okay, what we have here.
Okay, I think it's my turn.
Yes, Terry, it's your turn. But
Terry,
there is a change in the scenario.
Enrico didn't choose
sorry,
the card.
Enrico. Yes,
no,
yes.
don't worry. Okay, I think I could do this, and I will buy my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Enrico, you are on the top
don't worry.
left. Pardon.
Does that card need replacing before the next go?
Okay, so new turn. Have you done, Enrico?
Yes.
Okay, the new turn. Okay, we have a new team member. So what is the impact when you have a new team member? Actually, the new team member requires a very strong input with the influencer. So it's not something that we can, let me say, we cannot divide our effort in different influencers. Or better, we cannot focus on a single influencer. But normally when you have a new team member, you are moving on different dimensions, okay? So what is happening here is actually you cannot take two of the same influencers, but you have just the option to take 3 different influencers. So this is happening across the term. You can develop a new card if you have the influencers. However, there is no blockage in developing new cards. I want to mention something now that Terry is playing. When I saw Terry's game, actually, I copied the idea of making the border with the color of the cards. So this is based on your game, Terry.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to have done that.
No, but I saw your games and I really love it. So I think it was really valuable. Okay, next one, Sarah.
So I'm going to, because I now have a permanent, what is that? What's the red one?
It's the
purpose. I can take that, can't I? I can take dot voting.
Absolutely. So you are using the fact that your team has a good knowledge of Gemba work that actually is very based on purpose, to use that purpose to develop a new practice that is dot voting. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Excellent, really. Laxman?
Okay.
Let me show the new card. Clearly, if you are an agilist, you will recognize all of these cards. Okay, so there is nothing really new.
So I'll probably take this card. And give back
2 blue tokens and one gray.
Yeah.
Okay, just a quick note about the platform. Sorry, Laxman, give me 1 second with your token.
Sure.
What you can do with token also, you can pile the tokens one over the other. You can see that a small number appears. Okay, that is the number of token. Now, when you click, with a single click, you take the token on the top. But when you have a pile, actually, you can double click the tokens, and then you can move all of them together.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is just when you will have a lot of tokens. Please, Enrico, it's your turn.
Okay, could I pick a token and use my develop
no, not
ability?
in the center.
No, okay,
not in the
okay.
center.
So I have to choose only tokens. Okay.
Or maybe if there is a card, for example, with your tokens, you can take the link coffee.
Ah, good.
You have
good.
an orange,
sure.
an amber, a green, and then you have the gray from design.
I will do. Okay, thank you.
And for me, I will take refactoring. So I put refactoring and I take back one this, one this, and one this.
Lovely. Okay, new round. Let's see what is going to happen. Okay, now we are on holiday. So this is the meaning of this card. And so actually we cannot develop any, let me say, new practice or value with our teams. So what we can do in this turn actually is just to pick tokens. Oh, sorry. You can pick tokens and also, pardon, I didn't read the text. You can develop new card only using the tokens in the cards, because these are tokens already in the team. So we cannot develop new one, okay?
So what are we supposed to do in this round? We are just supposed to take tokens?
You can take the tokens, or if you want to develop a new card, you can use also only the existing cards, not the token.
How can we use the existing card?
Because they are too many, they're too few. Sorry, now you cannot. But when you have, let me say, a good number of cards, actually, you will have the possibility to develop new cards without spending tokens.
Okay, makes sense.
I could nearly do that, but not quite, because I got 2 cards.
Terry, have you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Sarah?
All right.
Sorry, because I was taking a note about the text in that card.
Whoa. Darren's just joined. I'm gonna let him in a second. Right.
Hi, Darren.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
No worries, no worries.
Can you
By the-
repost the invitation
link.
to the link, Corrado, so that Darren can get in, see what we're doing?
Oh, yes.
So Corrado's just going to post a link in the chat because we're playing on a different platform.
Okay.
So I'd suggest probably for now it's probably best just to. Have I taken all the bits I could? I have, haven't I? Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate on two things at once now. I've taken all my bits, haven't I, Corrado?
Mhm.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Sorry, just a point for all the other. I see that you are writing in the chat, but actually it's not easy for me to read the chat. So if you want to make a comment or a question, please jump in the session with your microphone. Okay, so it could be easier for me to follow. So this is for Michael, for example.
No
I see
worries.
that.
All the questions have been answered while you play.
Okay. However, don't be shy. Make the question directly. Great.
So Darren, if you use that link and then you get in, and you should be able to. I think you should be able to join as a player, shouldn't he?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
starting
in,
later, but it's okay. Darren, when you enter, you will see this screen here. Okay.
Yeah.
So select, you see on the bottom left, there is a prepare icon here, and
Yeah.
select play to enter in
Okay.
the player session.
I don't know if it's better if maybe because I don't want you to have to explain everything again. It's probably better if I just watch and listen.
Yeah.
As you prefer.
I'll do that.
As you prefer.
Okay.
If you find that you can join in, you can use the little roundabout area.
Okay.
If you work out what's going on and you think you can join in.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm missing who is in round now. Who is the turn?
I didn't. Enrico. No. Yes.
Okay, so
Enrico, is it done for you?
No, even I need to do. I have not taken the tokens.
It's my
Sorry,
turn.
I'm not getting. It's time for a new calendar.
No, I don't pick. I'm picking.
Okay, okay, Enrico, go.
Even I have not picked up.
And
Even I
Enrico,
have not picked up.
Okay, Enrico took 2 grays. Now it's Sergey.
Okay, take 2 on
amber.
At 2 amber.
Okay, so the new sprints.
Can I also
Okay.
pick up my tokens?
Sorry,
This is Lakshmania. Yeah, I have not picked tokens this round. So should I pick it up now?
Okay, so take it.
Yeah.
No worries.
Sure. Okay.
We
Okay.
trust that you are not cheating.
Oh, okay.
What a terrible thing to say, Corrado.
You cannot imagine what is happening with the real session.
Oh yeah, I've been siphoning extra tokens off for ages.
Yeah, people that take in 4 tokens. But now, because I already...
So actually, Laxman, you are cheating. You cannot
Okay.
take 2 of one kind and 1 of another
Oh,
kind
okay.
at the same
Oh,
turn.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can do
thank
this.
you, Mike.
Yeah. I can put this back. I did not.
Shifty
no
Laxman.
I forgot that it's 2 of one or 3 of different. I forgot.
Yeah.
What was in my count was.
Okay, now we are in a new turn, a new sprint, and actually the new situation is that we achieve the support from the business. So this situation increased the capacity in coaching because we have the possibility to take an extra token from the standard 2 or 3 of different types. Okay, so in this case, if you want to take tokens, you can take 1 more. Terry, makes sense?
Does it matter? So
It
could
does.
you
Sorry, go on.
you're probably going to ask the same question as me.
No, go on.
So can you take 2 of one kind and 2 different ones then? Does it matter what your extra one is that you take?
Okay, in the new version of the card, because this was raised by another team. In this version, it's the text is exactly may take an extra other influencer. So you cannot take twice of the same influencer. Okay, so if you decide to take two of the same influencer, you have to pick another one. You can pick another one, but of a different influencer.
Okay. Yeah.
So we need to pick two different influencers.
I think your extra one can't be a third of the same kind, I think is what.
Your extra one has to be unique, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you are not taking the influencer, you are not taking the extra. Okay, so in this case, for example, Terry developed the card at level 2, but has not the possibility to take the extra influencers.
That's cool.
Because
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can perfectly understand. Absolutely makes sense. Sarah?
Right. Oh, I can't seem to move the screen. I can't see what I'm doing. That's because I'm in this. No. Oh yes.
Okay,
Right.
if you are in trouble, okay,
No,
that's
it's fine. I was trying to move your shared screen in Zoom. Sorry.
Okay. No, but however, if you are in trouble with the screen, you can simply click the icon on the bottom right, you see, that is reset. In this case, this is what is going to happen. You are placed in the middle of the screen, and then you can move back.
Yeah. So. I think the main problem is the problem that you have with whatever platform you're using is the moving around and the zooming in and out.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily got visibility of the same bits that you want to see all the time.
Absolutely. I can show you what is going to happen. If you are here in this situation, okay, wow, what's up? What's up? Okay. So you simply click and you are in the middle. So great.
So
Sarah, develop a new card. Laxman?
Okay. I don't think I can develop a new card, so I'll go for the token.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can take an extra token, you know.
So I can take two different tokens or three different tokens.
Oh, show me what is your options. So,
yeah. So do you want me to speak out what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking
no, you can do it. It's your turn.
Okay. So I'm thinking about taking
two gray. Okay, one gray.
Two grays.
Grays. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can pick another one, not gray.
Okay. Makes sense. So maybe I'll go for one of these.
Perfect.
Okay.
Great. So I think, Enrico, I don't know if you already picked the token.
Yeah, I picked it.
Okay, but I want to highlight how Enrico is placing tokens and cards. That is exactly the way that I used to place tokens and cards. So I place tokens close to the cards of the same type. So you know exactly how many of each tokens you have to buy and to develop new cards. Okay, thank you, Enrico. Sergey.
Yes, it's for me. Now I take purple, for example. I'd like another one blue. I take the green, gray one. It's 3, and I can take and one additional. For example, red one. It's okay.
Now, end of turn, new calendar card. Okay, it's like the absence that we had before. So as a coach, we are on leave. Okay, so as you say, we can develop new card only from other cards, so not using the tokens. Terry?
Yeah.
But you can still collect tokens.
Yeah, you can collect tokens actually.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Perfect. Sarah?
I'm done.
Perfect. Laxman?
Okay. So I'll collect tokens.
Yep.
So I'll collect one of mastery, one of environment, and one of collaboration.
Enrico did it. Sergey?
Yep.
Oh, for me, yes, I take it. 2 autonomy.
Great. Next one. Okay, we have an extra influencer because we have support from the business. Okay, just for your information, the cards in the calendar, there are in 36 in total. One third of them are the normal sprint, so the normal turn. And of the other, there are 3 cards of 8 types, 8 different types. Okay, so I mean, the number of cards of absence, for example, of business support is actually 3 in all the deck of the calendars. Okay, so there are many more options. Go, Terry.
Okay, sorry. So if I take 3 of separate ones, that's not the same as this influencer bonus.
Sorry, Terry.
If I take 3 separate ones, 3 different colors, then I don't get an extra one. No.
Yes.
I do.
But is a fourth of another type of the 3 that you already picked up.
So a 4th different one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Playing this game in person is a little bit, let me say, quicker, because I mean, you can manipulate the tokens in a more easy and friendly way than it is today. Thank you, Terry. Sarah?
Oops. Thought there were 2 of those left. Have I taken both of them? No. That's a bit strange. Won't take any of those. I'll take a couple of those then.
So we can take 3 cards, right?
3 tokens plus 1.
3 plus 1. Okay.
4 different tokens, if you want.
Okay.
Or 2 of a kind and another one.
Okay.
Or 4 of a kind if they're all different.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just for your information, there is still one amber token and 1 red token, okay? Because you cannot see the number. When you don't see the number, there is 1.
That explains it. I wanted to take, can I put one of my orange ones back?
Yeah,
and,
you can.
my red ones back.
Can I do the same with it?
Yeah, don't worry.
I definitely would have taken a red one.
Yeah, this is the platform that actually when you have 1 token is not showing the number.
Yeah, that mystified me somewhat because I went, I thought there were 2 and then it looked like there were none.
I realized that. Laxman.
Okay. So I'll possibly go for 2 of collaboration.
I think after this we should just have one more round, and then to leave some time at the end for sort of questions and for Corrado to tell us where we can get hold of the game and so on.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay. So I've taken 2 of collaboration and 1 of leadership.
Okay.
There is an extra one, right?
Yes, we will do another one.
Okay. And
I think Sergey, it's your turn. I think.
Yes, one moment.
I have an extra one.
Yes. I will take 1 card up. So I will take back tokens. 1
2 green, 1 red, 1 gray, and 1 amber.
1 red, 1 gray, 1 amber. Yes.
Lovely. So we have a new card here. Okay, so last round. Let's see what is the situation.
Made a proper
Okay,
mess
it's a
there.
normal round. So actually nothing different.
Okay.
I can't get anything sensible. Made a proper mess of that last one.
Yeah, Terry got the rule. Perfect. Sarah?
Yeah. Is there anything I can do with that? I don't think there is. No, I'm just going to have to take this one.
It's the last turn, so you have to take a card.
Yeah. I've left myself in a situation where I'm not played very well.
Well, actually, you missed just 1 blue to take the Agile Manifesto on the right. This one, because actually you have 3, 1, 2, and the card. I know you don't have the 3 green.
No,
okay.
I don't have the greens.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
The
Laxman.
best I could do under the circumstances.
I'll probably go for this card, the unlock intrinsic motivation.
Yep.
So I need to give out 1 red, 1 green, 3. Okay, when these are stacked, how do I move all of them together?
Sorry, Laxman.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, sorry.
I use my 1 developed card and put 4 plus 1 5 and 3 red. Is right?
And what you're developing?
Experiment.
Experiment. And level 3. Okay.
Then taking a lean budget, for example. So I'm using 1 blue from cards already because it's and 2, yes, 1 from the
purple. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, so this is the last turn. Clearly the game is not over. Okay, but we are stopped. I think that the dynamic and the mechanic is pretty clear. Okay. Just
how does the game end, Corrado? Is it purely time based?
Yeah, in this version the game is based on the calendar. So when you discover the last calendar, you will finish the game, and then you count the level of mindset, so the yellow point. So in this case, we have, for example, Sergei that has 1.5 points, Terry that has 3 points, Sarah, you have 1.5 points, Laxman 2.5 points, 2 points and half, and 3.5 points for Enrico, that is the winner. Okay. There is, however, another way to play the game. Congratulations, Enrico. There is another way to play the game that I can introduce that is based on the objective. That actually is the first version of the game. So actually there are some final objectives that you can see here. So you have to achieve 30 points, and then you need to have a card, at least 1 value card for each of the 6 influencers. Okay, so these are different conditions, and you are playing with these intermediate objectives. For example, when you achieve 4 cards of the same influencers, you gain 3 points. Or for example, this one, when you have 3 values, you take 5 points. Okay, so this is a completely different dynamic, because actually the end of the game is not time-based, but is based on the level of the mindset. And also you have not the change of the rule set that you have every sprint. So you have not the events actually. So the rule set is pretty standard. So this is the initial way of the game that was designed. But I decided to move to a different, you can play this, okay, however. I decided to move to a different dynamic like this one, because I think it's more close to the reality of the team, because every sprint something is happening actually. And so this makes also the games more unpredictable and more fun to be played.
Yeah. Cool.
Perfect.
Excellent. So obviously everybody will now be wanting to get a copy of the game. You'll have to save up for a long time though, won't you, Corrado? Because you know it's quite expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really expensive. Just to provide all the information about that, in the chat I'm putting the link to the page in the Agile Game Factory where you can find all the information about the game, what is the goal of the game, the facilitator guide, the article that I wrote. There are some materials here. For example, you can see the presentation that is available here in LinkedIn. One second, Mattia. And this is the presentation, the article that I wrote after introducing the game at Agile Tour in September. You can find a lot of materials. And among all the stuff, you can find the link to Drive to Cars. It is a portal where you can see, you can buy the game for the incredible amount of $2 that actually are £2. The game is at this level because I'm completing the game. So the game is still, you see, there are some changes. You see that I took some notes given this test and what else. And I continue receiving feedback for a dozen of teams that actually are testing the game on frequently basis. But however, if you buy the game at this stage, you will receive all the updates. So it's a sort of crowdfunding strategy for having the game today and also for the future.
And that's a print and play, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a print and play, absolutely. Yeah. And but with the printed version, you will have also the access to the online version if you want. And so at the moment, this is just in early stages, just experimenting this online version. But however, you will receive the link to the online version, so you can play also virtually the game and not only by cards. And that's it, actually. Last point that I have in my checklist, Sarah, is Sarah mentioned that I wrote some article on Ludogogy, and you are invited to read Ludogogy because it's a great magazine, really focused on games and serious games. There are a lot of articles. Also, Terry and Laxman are frequent writers on there, so absolutely suggested a must that if you are a game designer or player, you have to do.
Yes, bear in mind, I literally am migrating it tonight, though. So if you go there and it appears to be broken, it will be not broken again soon. I think it's, by the look of it, it's not actually migrated yet. That looks like it's still on the old server.
Yeah, this is here. This is the actual status at the moment.
Yeah. I suspect the background might vanish when it actually migrates, because I think that's one of the things that looks like it might be broken when it's moved. But it's all supposed to be very smooth, but it isn't.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding this game, more from practical point of view. From my first impression that it may be more interesting for Scrum Masters or Agile coaches to discuss about it. Is it what is your feedback after playing it with the teams, with developers? Is it interesting? What was the feedback?
Well, actually, the dozen of teams that are experimenting the games are real teams, not teams of Scrum Masters or a team of coaches. They are real teams.
Mm-hmm.
And what is really interesting is, as I said, is the conversation around the content of the cards. And for example, I'm receiving some feedback about what is written in the text, in the wording. Not only, let me say, mistakes, but also, okay, for us, planning poker means something different. Okay, so this is the real value, I think, of the conversation, because when you have this, let me say, focus on the conversation, that is the content of the card, when you discuss the card and you challenge the content of the card, actually the effect is that you achieve a common understanding that maybe is different from the cards, but it's perfect. It's a common understanding in the team. So when you are at the practice and tool level, is not really critical. But when you are moving to the principles and to the value level, this is absolutely, let me say, changing. Because, for example, if you are focusing on one of the principles, are we adopting this principle? What is missing in our adoption? It's okay. What can we do more? And so you have this kind of conversation. Okay. And when someone vote, okay, I played this game also with different teams. One team has its own card set, okay, and so they play together in a very competitive way. And when they enter in their conversation, in their own team conversation, they bought a link coffee card, for example. They discuss, while the turn is working for the rest of the game, they discuss around the link coffee. Are we using, that's a great idea, we can use it more, we can use it less, we never did it, we want to make experiment. So this is, I think, the real value of the game. So everyone is a winner, actually. And your information, Sergey, I'm going to play this game next week with the set of my colleagues, coaches. So I will receive some different point of view around the game, because we will see coaching playing the games and not teams. So this will be a completely different experience, I'm pretty sure.
In fact, yes, I think the biggest value is about discussion, is in the discussion, and even just to discuss these cards with a team, it's a huge value. And maybe just to vote what is most important for us for now, for our team today. What do you want to implement during the next sprint?
Absolutely. Just to share an experience, there is another game that I have in my list that is Agile SIS, where SIS stands for Support Your Squad. Actually, also in this game, we have a portfolio of practices, okay? And I know for sure that few Scrum Masters took the game, not to play the game, because this is a solo game, okay? But just to use the cards in the conversation with the teams. Okay, so they say again, link coffee. Okay, what is link coffee? Can we do link coffee? What we need to do link coffee and what? So they are using the card as a sort of, let me say, vocabulary, a Wikipedia.
Toolbox. It's like toolbox. That is my toolbox, please.
Exactly. So we know that and what else. So it's okay. I mean, I like this usage of the game because again, it's a conversation that is really valuable. Thank you for the questions again.
Can I ask you, Corrado, just about your experience of using that platform, ScreenTop? Was it easy to create stuff, and has it been easy to use with people kind of to play?
Okay, I cannot say that it's really easy, okay, but let me tell that I developed this game in 1 week, only the nights. So I spent 5 nights to develop the game. Clearly, I already had all the materials, as you have, for example, for your game. I already have all the printed cards and what else, but actually assembling the game, now for sure it will take probably 2 nights, okay, I would say. So absolutely, the first experience was a little bit traumatic. But actually the platform is not really difficult to use. You don't need to be a programmer, okay? It's everything based on configuration, upload, the parameters and what else. So
it looks really good.
It is.
I think the layout of it is really nice.
Okay, here we have an expert of this platform, so I cannot say that it looks good with Darren here present, but I think it's fine. I think that the custom platform should be absolutely better. Also because I suppose that in Darren's platform, he is able also to implement some rules in the platform. And instead here, you cannot implement any rule in the platform. Okay.
My
this
platform,
is important.
You can't implement tokens or anything yet though. So this is mine's literally just cards. So,
is there a way to marry both of them?
Yeah, but however, let me say that I also develop on this platform a very complicated game that I have. and it's working. It's working. I cannot share because, I mean, I implemented something that is covered by copyrights, but I implemented just for me and my wife, so that's fine. I'm not going to sell this. But you can implement very sophisticated games also. And if you look at the existing game, there are a couple really, really engaging, very, very complicated. And in particular, Sarah, just to mention to Sarah and Terry, here you can, in this platform, you can see Rising Earth. Let me share for 1 second the screen again. Okay. Yep. Okay, here, if you go in the main page, there is this game here, Earth Rising, sorry. This is a game on sustainability. Let me show
right. Okay.
If you want to play this, just to show the level of okay, so this is the game.
If I'm not wrong, they also have a Kickstarter, right?
Wow.
Yeah, Earth Rising was Kickstarter, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is pretty complicated. This is a true board game. Okay, you can see. So, and this is again, there are a lot of tokens, cards, these are all cards and whatever. So absolutely, so you can do that.
Cool.
Oh, definitely have a look at that.
Yeah, eventually,
Interesting.
Terry, if you need some tip, I can keep in touch. Okay, I can help you.
Sure. No, it's just interesting to hear your experience. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Sergey. Sergey's just saying he's leaving. So.
Bye.
I think we'll all be leaving shortly anyway, won't we? Has anybody got any other questions they want to ask Corrado before we wind up for the evening?
I just wanted to tag along saying that, Corrado, I'll be equally interested to know more about the platform.
I have to leave. Bye-bye. Sorry.
Okay. Bye, Enrico.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
So the simple top or screen top. So I'll be equally interested to know more. I'll reach out to you.
Okay.
Super. Well, thank you very much, Corrado. That was really,
if you can provide, sorry, Sarah, just a quick question for me. Yep. If you can type in the chat from 1 to 5, what is your feedback about the game? It will be great for me as just a rough impression.
And what would 1 stand and 5 stand for?
Sorry?
What would 1 and 5 stand for?
Yeah, 1 is bad and 5 exceptional. Let me say in a different way.
Well, I really liked it. I like the idea of progression. I think that's really, really, really interesting the way you've kind of designed it so that as you progress, you'll have more and more capability. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a 5. I really like that.
Thank you.
I'm deliberately not putting a comment on there because I came in too late and I didn't get my head around it all because I didn't go into the system. I couldn't see everything properly either. So I was trying to look at both versions.
Yeah.
So I can't really give a fair kind of assessment of it. So
yeah, thank you for being part of this experience.
Yeah, I'm quite curious to see how this ends up. I know this is good for starting up and triggering and churning a lot of thoughts. And that's why I'm right now giving 4.5. Otherwise, I'm equally on 5.
Okay, thank you, Laxman.
It's all these people who won't give a 5. I know.
And let me make it 5.5.
Cool.
No, it could be great if you can, for example, highlight if something is missing, okay, because this can help me to understand way to improve the game.
One thing which I wanted to understand, and that's what I said I would want to look at how it ends, is we had different people buying different cards. Apart from the scores, what else can that bring out in the conversation, or what else can that depict out in the nature of how we interpret Agile and what are we focusing on?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I mean, the logic, I mean, the mechanic of the game now is really competitive. And Sarah knows that I really don't like competitive games. I generally prefer collaborative games. But actually, the initial idea was so, let me say, enlightening for me that I decided to develop the game as it comes to me. Because Sarah knows that, and Laxma, you also knows that normally I used to prepare a board, the game vision board before starting with the game. In the initial vision, where I had this idea of collaboration, that if you develop Link Coffee may help another player to develop their stuff. This was the initial idea. But actually this mechanic is not working at all because I tried actually. So another dimension that I really would like to add is that, okay, what is your starting point? Okay, so what is a practice that you have in your team that already is working fine? So instead of starting with 0, actually, maybe you have a good Link Coffee in place. So you start with the Link Coffee. And maybe you have 2-3 cards that you can start at the beginning, that you can have at the beginning of the game. Because this is your team today. And so it's more realistic as a journey for your team, how you want to grow, given what you have. So where you have to invest your time, in which influencer you want to invest your time to achieve the game that is there. And this opens another possibility, that is the solo game, where you have one team actually playing with themselves in achieving the goal, in achieving the journey, following the journey, whatever. But this dynamic, I think that the card can work, but it's not clear to me how these solo games can work.
I think you could do a lot of stuff as a kind of, sorry, Sarah.
No, carry on. I
was going to say, I think you could do a lot of stuff as a kind of meta, kind of improving the rules kind of thing and discussion afterwards. Because I was just thinking maybe you could, for instance, I was thinking maybe you could have some cards lead to other cards, like in Everdell, if you've ever played Everdell, the board game. You say, okay, this card, if you've got this card, not only does it give you an orange token, but it gives you a free ride to this other card because they're thematically linked. Or something like that. And I was thinking you could do that, but then it would make the game a bit complicated. So what you could do instead is you could ask them at the end of the game, you could say to them, if we were going to do that, which cards would be thematically linked? And there's lots of other things you could do like that. So instead of actually making the game more complex, you could say, if we were going to change the game, how would we change it to make it more agile or to make some of the concepts really pop, so that actually you're asking them to use their creativity and their knowledge of agile to kind of, suggest things about the game, if that makes sense.
But I really love this last part, Terry. And this is exactly, you remember the presentation that I shared, where actually there was the empty card that you can fill with your idea, okay? And actually in the original package of the game, there is also the empty card. Okay, so actually you can play with the token in your team to identify what are the values for your teams, and then try to identify what are the influencers that you can use to enable these values in your teams. Okay, so this is another way that you can use not exactly the same cards, but you can use to create your own card set. And I really like this idea to make people creating particularly the coaches, creating their own card set, okay, with their own set of values, their own set of principles, their own set of practices and tools, and make teams play with their own definition, with their own input and output and what else. Not easy, but actually the cards are available in the package.
I mean, I guess one of the things that's a bit challenging if people are looking at it from the perspective as we want to follow this strategy to get this outcome, is that there is an element of chance, because obviously there's the cards are dealt, so you've only got a subset of cards available, and presumably there's only one of each card. So if somebody takes your card, then you can't follow that strategy. Yeah, but I don't know how you would get round that, or even if you'd want to get round that, because that might take away some of the gameplay element of it.
I think if you're trying to build a competitive game, that's a very standard thing, right?
Yeah,
you are competing for the cards. I think there's a little bit of a what do you want to call it? A conflict in that you're teaching Agile, which is inherently a collaborative thing.
I know.
In a competitive game, which is inherently not.
It's like having a sofa that's about keeping fit, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of. So there's always going to be a little bit of a mismatch, which is going to make it a little more challenging. But I really do like if you could build some sort of conversation around it. I think it's really great. But then really depending on a facilitator to do that for you.
Yeah.
And if you're me, like for example, on my team, I'm trying to get people to understand Agile, and they're like, "Why are you bothering us with this?" So like me telling you, "Here's a game, I'm going to explain it to you again," isn't going to help me sell Agile to them because they're going to be like, "It's Maka just giving us a hard time again." So obviously you can't address that immediately. It's a very big challenge, and clearly it's a bigger challenge than just this game. But I wonder if you could do, like, you've got objectives already. If there was a slightly altered version of this where each person was a role and they had a certain thing they can produce. So basically, you have to figure out how to work collaboratively and cooperatively to get things done. Right now, we're each individually building up stuff. You've got a nice little engine building game, but there's really no reason to communicate with each other at all.
I'm taking the note.
In fact, right now, if you communicate and share people your thoughts, they can sabotage you, which also happens in real life teams, unfortunately, but shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm taking the note about that. However, I agree with what you said at the beginning. I mean, Agile is essentially about collaboration, and this is a competitive game. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, but Michael, this is also a game. So, as I said, if you want to spend some time with your teams, okay, you can spend 1 hour, 2 hours playing and discussing something that is related to your work. Maybe you can have some outcome that is not the game itself, but again, the knowledge sharing about what the practice means, the value that are important for us, blah, 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 and all of this stuff.
Absolutely.
But I got the point.
Yeah, to be clear, I bought it. I'm going to be sharing with them and doing stuff with them with it. So, I'm going to try it out, and I'll give you more feedback if I get it.
Having not understood the game because I came in late, so just listening to what Sarah was saying about when somebody gets a card and somebody else may want it, you're talking about the competitive element, wanting to make it collaborative. Is there a way potentially, if you've almost got the first stage of the game, which is competitive, and then when people rise to a certain level, they could then, once they achieve the level, then they could start trying to help other people to rise, as a kind of leader would do to help other people to grow, and somehow connect the cards that they have in their hand to cards people have in their, so that they could gain from the other person's cards.
I like that, Darren. That could be a really interesting way to add some collaborative on top of it. So, for example, what if there was a challenge, something? It was a project and that required like 15 reds and 9 blues and whatever. So people have to like, oh, can I build up our whole team so we can actually achieve this thing? Because if we don't achieve it, we all fail. Like, sure, I might have been the most successful individual, but who cares if the project failed?
Yeah.
Right. So you can add kind of a little bit of a collaborative thing on top, almost as a layer. So you could play this in 2 stages, where the first you're just trying to figure out how the game works, and then second you're trying to figure out how do we work together to get somewhere now that we've established this stuff. Because it could easily be the fact that me on the team, I'm good at agile leadership, but I'm no good at handling feedback. Somebody else could be good at feedback and not understand what a squad health check is. And so you could actually end up with different members of the team with different skill sets. And how do we collaboratively work together to build out this larger project? I love that, Darren.
And I second that. And this is where I brought that question, what happens in the end? Now, if you look at the current board that we played, all of us have some extra additional tokens, as well as all of us have cards which do not sync up or which do not match up. Maybe to experiment with, you could just start at this level. Once the game ends, give 5 minutes for the cards in hand and tokens in hand, and then say, what all can you achieve over?
Yeah, what can we achieve as a team with what we have? Yeah.
And it could be a fun experiment also. We know there's this big goal over here that we're going to try to do and has all these requirements. We're going to individually do it ourselves and then see how far we get, and then see what happens the next turn if we actually communicate with each other. Hey, I'm going to get this because it'll help us get that for next turn. And the other person, cool, then I'll do this. And you can see, like, do you get further when you actually communicate and cooperate? Oh, look at that, you do. So maybe that helps,
And if you look at the choice of, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just adding that what Michael said, if you look at the cards that we have drawn in this game, quite a lot of cards are complementary to each other, and it would be interesting to see how the team comes up with it. Somebody has got serious game, somebody has got experiment, somebody has got sign-up framework. and they could bring it up together and see what could be done.
Yeah, just to tell that this idea, I think they are great. Okay, they are really just a draft, not real a concept, just a concept. Okay, but I think that this can be, let me say, sort of expansions on the basic game set.
Yeah.
So the important, I think that the important part that you can build up is the card deck, and actually you can use these cards in a many different ways. I really love the idea to have, let me say, a level where you can help the other. Great, I think. You can have a starting point given the roles. That's another great idea. Okay, so you start with a set of tokens that actually helps you to start quicker. So you can define some, let me say, personas, okay, that have different combination of influencer at the beginning. Okay, great idea, I think. And maybe you can mix this together. So you can start with that, but you can use your tokens to help the others to achieve better results and quicker and whatever. They are all great ideas. And so thank you. I took the notes about that, so they will come in the future for sure. Now, I really would like to stabilize the game, but any idea that you have, please keep in touch with me through LinkedIn and through Sarah also, and happy to collect feedback and improve it. Okay, thank
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for coming, everybody. Those of us that are left, with a hardcore that are left now. And thank you so much, Corrado, for bringing this to us. It was really, really fun and really interesting. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how it develops.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you everyone for the great feedbacks.